Coach, with the evolution of the summer program, how much does that help all the extra hours, allowing you in a situation like this where you've got pretty much an entire new team to get you've got to get your team ready essentially for the start of practice?
Yeah, it's so much different than it used to be. I think back to when I was playing and when I first got into coaching. When I was playing, the coaches didn't touch the players at all. And honestly, until school started, if they did, it was in small groups of 4 or less, and you didn't do anything as a team on the court until October 15th. And I know that was a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And so how that's evolved in the time that I've been in coaching until now is very significant. So we get the 4 hours a week in the summertime for 8 weeks, and we can use that however we want from a basketball perspective. We get that same 4 hours a week in the fall preseason until we start that official practice, which will be for us Monday. But we're going to have save 4 hours for Sunday, so that type of thing. But so Sunday will be the first official practice for our program. But as it looks on the NCAA calendar, Monday will be practice 1 of 30. But practice 1 for us will be on Sunday. So anyway, yeah, it's changed a lot. I think how to use that time is something you think in a lot of depth about with the changing landscape. So, years ago we used to use the first 4 weeks primarily for skill development, and it was program-based skill development. Now you get into the team concepts much quicker, and I think that summertime and this fall period is so much more important for team development than maybe it was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Your personnel's changed a little bit from June to now. A couple new guys. You can talk about them and just that whole process.
Yeah, you guys know the premium that there is on skill and shooting in our league, and Jordy Rodriguez has a reputation in Europe is one of the great shooters in his generation, or his age group, and playing for the Spanish national team. He's played minutes in the ACB league in the first division of Spain, which is one of the best professional leagues in the world. He's played very significant minutes in the second league in Spain, which is also a very well-respected level of basketball. And so he brings, obviously, skill and shooting, but he has a tremendous feel offensively as a player. Passes it well, moves without the ball really well, and he's got pretty good length and size for a guard at 6'7". And then the same thing with Lucas Atari. He's played professional basketball in Brazil. It shoots it really well, has really good feel, and he has a level of toughness that I think, at least we felt in the evaluation, that would translate to the way that we defend and the things that happen within this league.
Kind of going off that, with those kinds of players, Baba included, is there maybe something that they have that puts them a step ahead of other players in college because they've been at the pro ranks, or is there something that kind of they have to catch up on that you see as common between those kind of players?
Yeah, there's going to be transition because of the style of play. I'm certainly a lot more experienced dealing with the transition from Europe to the United States because I've coached a lot of kids that came from Europe. The South American level or the Brazilian level, this is my first experience coaching somebody making that transition. So there's going to be transition, just like when somebody goes from America to play overseas in year one, there's a transition to style of play. It's the same thing because the game is a little bit different. But I think what you're asking, these guys are older than your typical first-year players in college, right? So they do have experience playing with older players, playing at a very high level, and you hope that makes the transition to college basketball a little bit less.
Coach, you've mentioned in the past your passion and love for coaching. What have you been most encouraged with this current group that you have?
Well, just kind of that. I appreciate the question. You guys are doing good so far today, but I've enjoyed them. I've really genuinely enjoyed the time on the court with this group to date. It's, like anything else, you got to find your why, and like one of the things that's my why is how much I enjoy just walking out onto the court and doing what I love to do every day. And to date, this group has been as fun to work with as any group I've coached. And we got a long way to go and a lot to go through, but I have enjoyed this group a lot, and that'd be something that stuck out to me so far.
What's most encouraging about what you'll bring in the post this year, Wes? Do you feel like that group will be improved collectively with the changes you've made?
Yeah, and I think it was important for us as we were trying to craft this roster that we had some guys that we could throw the ball back to the basket to play through. And I think we have a couple guys we added for sure. And, Jalen Haynes, and he's undersized in terms of height. And he does it a little unconventionally, right? He's not just like going to ram you all the time and get to the rim. Like, he can face up, he handles it well. He can play in the low post, the mid post. He can play out on the floor. But you can throw him the ball and isolate him and create offense for the team and for himself. And then Mustafa has been a surprise there. We knew he had skill and touch, but his ability to score back to the basket's been very impressive, especially when he gets a deeper catch. Like, he can go over both shoulders. And that touch that you're able to see when he was playing out of the dunker spot last year, like, he has the ability to do it in the post area back to the basket too, and that's been neat to see. So we added two guys that can score it down there in the box without advantages. And then, Tyler McKinley and Halveen are physical guys in their own right that we returned that, fans didn't see anything, didn't see much of at all. But those guys have some ability to score back to the basket too. So in that sense, it's a much different look than we had a year ago.
When it comes to internal player leadership, there was always kind of a formula. Younger guys grow, get old, and take on leadership. You have that a little bit with Day-Day, but how difficult is it with almost an entirely new team establishing that kind of who is going to be, the voice inside the locker room?
Listen, if you had, 4 fifth-year seniors that have been through the battles and all that, that'd be the easiest thing there is in regards to your question. That's going to be more and more rare. And when you're able to execute that, it'll be a special thing. But everybody in college basketball is having to, no matter who you are, where you are, is having to deal with situations where that's not quite the case. What we do have is Day-Day. And I think that's rare, that he's in year 3. He's a fifth-year college player. He'll be a 3-year Big 12 player. He understands what it means to play at Cincinnati. He understands playing in the Big 12. And he has the right values and characters internally. And so the team respects him, the coaching staff respects him. And so we do have that. So there'll be years in college basketball that you won't have that anymore. And we maybe don't have it to the old school sense. But we have it with Day-Day, and I think that's been pretty good from a coaching standpoint. I'm proud of that.
You mentioned in a private setting a couple exhibitions. Can you elaborate on those, or
have we released any of our exhibition information yet? I cannot. There you go.
Well, that's why I asked. Is your roster full? Any room for anyone coming or anyone that was here?
I don't have any updates regard to roster or anything to add there.
With the roster, you have a lot of people that are multiple that I feel like can play multiple positions. I know it's early, but how fun is that for you to be able to have like guys that you kind of move a little bit everywhere, because of most of the time this position is basketball more so than not nowadays. But how fun is it to have guys that you feel like can play multiple spots?
Yeah, I think the versatility of the roster is not by chance. I think there's a number of players that can slide to different traditional positions, even though basketball is not always traditional anymore. But you're going to have lineup versatility. Like, we have the ability to go really small, right, and still not be totally small up front, because we have some guys with great size and length up front. We have the ability to go really big and kind of everything in between, whether it's versatility with size, whether it's versatility with decision-making, versatility with, strength and toughness around the basket, whether it's versatility with shooting. I mean, there's a lot to do there, and I think part of our design as we're trying to put this team together is that we design a system of play that allows that versatility to take shape without having to make a lot of changes on the fly during the season. So if we want to make different lineup type of changes, we're able to do it without having to make strategic changes in the middle of January. Very good question.
We've heard a lot about Keyshawn Tillery and being hard to keep off the floor even in his true freshman year. Has that plan stayed the same for him, or are you approaching that in any different way, and how has he kind of responded?
Key's been great, guys. He's been great. You know, you can tell by his approach this summer he has an expectation. You know, like sometimes the external expectations, I don't worry about that. Don't think about it. It doesn't really cross my mind at all. But you can tell he has an expectation because of the way that he came in the door and approached our summer. And we did some things. We're doing some things week to week where we kind of evaluate their approach and some of the controllable aspects that I think really impact an organization's success. Like his grading in the summer was as good as anybody on our team. So certainly you guys know the abilities there, those of you that have had a chance to watch him at the grassroots level or the high school level. He had great moments this summer, and he's really had a nice work ethic and approach in the time he's been here. He's a freshman point guard. That's the most difficult position, I think, to transition from high school to college, and certainly now you're transitioning into the best league in America. So there's going to be some tough moments, but I have a ton of confidence that he can have a very successful freshman year here.
You saw Thiam twice last year. How relieving is it that he's in your colors now?
That he's in my presence?
In your colors.
Colors.
On your team.
Colors. Yeah, Moo is such a fascinating player. And I think you look at our roster, guys, and it's easy to point to some of the experience. I mean, there's a lot of experience on the roster. Again, that's very much by design. There's still a ton of youth, too. Like, we got a nice little balance there. And Mustafa's supposed to be a freshman. Like, I don't think he gets enough credit for – he was supposed to be in high school last year, and he classed up in the summer to go to school a year early. So he's playing as a high school freshman in the Big 12 last year and had relative levels of success. So it's fascinating that he obviously is an impactful player, but how much better he's going to be able to get between now and the first game in November, between November and league play, and then league play to the second half of league play. Like, I don't have the answers. I just know that there's so much room for him to grow, and that's pretty cool. Terrific kid. His skill set's very unique for somebody 7'2". He certainly has a presence defensively. I think he thinks I'm crazy sometimes because I've been extremely demanding, but that's because I think he could be really special.
Jalen Celestine's a guy that maybe hasn't been talked about much. What has he brought to this locker room and team, and how has having a veteran presence like him helped with that continued development of Sean Abayev? Yeah,
Jalen, I joked with him today when I saw him in the cafeteria. I said he's the first player coach since Bill Russell that I know about, and I'm just kind of giving him a hard time because sometimes I look at him and think that he's 35 years old or something, but I'm just halfway joking. Listen, he has a tremendous social awareness about him, and he's a very genuine person, a very mature person, and you can see that everybody gravitates to him. Like, he's got a great way about him with people, as I just mentioned. He has great perspective. Like, think of the time he spent at Cal, the time he was at Baylor. He's been through a little bit with injuries and things, and he's got a great perspective with everybody he interacts with. And you can tell that he's a guy that's going to get along with everybody on the team and in his own right have leadership because of his experience. So, again, I thought the combination of experience, high-achieving character, competitive edge, and then making sure that we also sprinkled in some other qualities with some of these young guys, I thought was really important, and the experience side for him was really big for us.
With Baba Miller, how unique is his size, length, ability, at 6'11", to help you out from multiple different spots, and getting to go over and watch him with the Spanish national team? Did you maybe pick up some ideas on, ways that he can be effective?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I felt like going that week we were off. The first week of August is usually a vacation week in coaching. I think if you look at most coaches, like wedding anniversaries, they're all they're all in that, first 10 days of August. It's probably one of the only slow times that's left in our profession. But with Baba playing for the national team, I thought it was a great opportunity for two things, Chad. One, to go meet his family, because I wasn't able to meet them in the recruiting process. They were over in Spain. And then two, to watch him in a different environment, and an environment that I have a great respect for. The head of the Spanish National Federation and coach, Sergio Scariolo, somebody that I've always admired as a coach. I consider him a friend. He's always been very good to me. So I was able to go watch Baba be around one of the great coaches in our sport, and give some access and that kind of thing. So it was better than any vacation. What I'd say I got from it was seeing him in a different environment definitely helped me see some things that I wasn't able to see in our summer practices. The other thing gave me confidence that our summer practices were good for our team, because he looked better in that environment than he did in our summer practices, and I thought our practices gave him confidence because it was hard in practice. And then he went over there and played against, and the games he was playing, there was other NBA players playing in those games. And he was playing against old professional players, senior national team players, and he did well. So I got a lot out of it. It energized me, and I think it helped me see him in a different light. So that ended up being a really good choice.
I'm curious, could be a obvious question, but you have Sean Abayev coming in, high-powered offensive guy, Sincere Harris, one of the better defenders in the country. When you're at practice, will you kind of force those two together to put Sean through the ringer offensively? And do you do that with a lot of players on the team?
I think, the thing you guys got to understand about Sincere or Buck, we call him Buck, so I don't want to start confusing you guys later when I start saying Buck. But with him, he's going to make it a confrontational thing on every defensive possession with whoever's in front of him. Not in a negative way, like he's wired that way. He is uber competitive, uber edgy on that end of the floor, and talented there. And so that's not by some like coaching design, but he's going to do that with everybody he matches up with. And so that's been good for our whole team and our whole roster. And then it's been infectious a little bit, because Day may not be as outwardly edgy, but he's got a fire that burns pretty deep, so it brings out a level of his edge, right? And then Jalen Haynes is outwardly edgy too, right, in a good way, and it brings it out. So practice has been, in the summertime, it was maybe a little bit more competitive than I've seen that early in the season, and a lot of them have a lot to do with that, but Buck certainly has a lot to do with it too.
Have you seen the value of Kirk Carissa, and is he the funniest guy on the team?
Value, yeah. We've talked, again, we haven't gone up and down the whole roster, but I think I mentioned earlier about the value of guys with experience, and what they can bring to this team. And Kerr brings that more than anybody, right? He's played on a top 5 team in the country as a key player. This is, his last year of college basketball. He's experienced quite a bit. We talked about Jalen Celestine. Kerr's experienced even more. And so his value is very, very significant to this team in a lot of different ways. And then on the court, his ability to advance the ball and get the ball out of his hands and make others better, it's been infectious. So some of the passing that we've seen in our summer practices and some of these fall settings that we've had the last couple weeks, like the passing has been significant, and I think some of that is Kerr's really set a tone with how we're going to share the ball.
4 of the guys you're bringing in, you've coached against before. How much has that helped with how you approach their development this offseason?
I've coached
against. So Kirk Carissa, Sincere. How much has that helped with how you approach their development this offseason and how you use them within your own system?
Yeah, I think you're always looking in these short windows of recruitment in the spring portal. You're trying to put a microscope in a short period of time to come up with very crucial decisions in recruiting. And this isn't the only way to have confidence, but when you've coached against somebody, especially within the league, multiple times, you've really broken their games down, and then you've seen it live. So that gives you some sense of security about who you're getting and what they can and can't do, right, or what their limitations or strengths are. It's not the only way. There's lots of other ways to get that information. So yeah, it's one. I think when you see guys transferring within leagues, a lot of it is because coaches have, a very strong opinion about what that player is because they played against him or coached against him so much. So that's an edge in one sense, and I'm sure there's other ways to get that without. Maybe you recruited them in high school for a couple years, or maybe you played against them in a non-conference situation. But yeah, that's different than just watching synergy, right? When you've actually seen a guy up live and personal, up close, live and personal.
Chad Brendel, BearcatJournal.com. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
When you're looking, 10,000 feet view, you've been doing this for a couple months now. What's it been like getting back into the college game, and how much time did it take to kind of readjust from where you were with the Thunder to now, doing a completely different task?
Yeah, I'm still learning, brother. I'm still learning. This is a crazy process. I jumped in March 31st, practically right in the portal. I don't think anyone was really prepared for the transfer portal, and this is a new day in college basketball, college athletics. So there's really no direct job description for what I do. So it's an evolving task list by the day, by the cycle. But what's been great is the experience on the staff with a guy like Wes and Chad Dollar, Andre Morgan, and the continuity that was already here. So I kind of came in saying, you know what, guys, how can I help you out? Whether it's recruiting, whether it's organization, whether it's management, whether it's whatever it might be. But as far as getting a grasp of the job entirely, that's going to be a consistent theme for me the next year or so. And again, college athletics, this thing's changing so much by the day. So by the time I might get a hold of it, it's probably going to change again. But doing my best here.
Ryan Roberts with Riverfront Cincy. Two guys recently added, Jordy Rodriguez and Lucas Satari. Can you just walk us through your involvement with that recruitment and also your evaluation of them?
Yeah, so like most, I'm just there to help wherever possible. For a guy like Lucas, it might have been an agent reaching out and myself kind of connecting with the staff with the proper parties that be. It moved pretty fast though. He went up and played in Canada for the Jam Fest, and he was phenomenal. Shot 59% from three in that event. I think he had 14 points, 17 points against Georgetown. Talk about a guy 6'4", 6'5", can play different spots, good athlete, tough, has some energy to him, type A personality, and he can really shoot the basketball. So that was a blessing in disguise, getting a guy like that late in the year who can come in here and potentially make an impact on our team this year. For Jordy, similar sense, was over in Belgrade and connected a little bit with the agent then, and I think Mamadou Njai and Wes Miller did a great job of leading that recruitment. Of course, one of my roles is on the back end, the contractual side, so I guess I did my part there, I hope. But Jordy's the same way. Jordy, he's 6'5", 6'6", can play different spots in the perimeter, on the wing, shoots the heck out of it, and again, type A personality. So I think it's very, very important that we had 13 guys on our roster, 15 guys on the roster at the time. We did not want to bring in anyone that could negatively impact the chemistry of our roster. We've been very, very fortunate with the chemistry early on, with bringing 14, 15 guys to the stable and different backgrounds, different experiences, talking about a 7-year age gap between some of our players. So again, very lucky to have that chemistry. So it was important that we did a little background on both Lucas and Jordy as far as who they are as people And since they've gotten on campus, from what we thought, I mean, they've been very, very mature and doll-like, and they've kind of fit in pretty well. So,
take me through your mindset when Wes reaches out. Obviously, you're with the Thunder. They were at the time, wouldn't be a bad argument to say, the best team in the NBA. You had put years of work in scouting to build up that team. Kind of feels like you're leaving at the height of it before they win the finals. Was there any part of you that said, I'm going to stick it out, or was the offer just too tantalizing and you had to take it?
The first response was hell no. I mean, no, it ain't gonna happen, man. I actually remember exactly where I was. I was in Barcelona at the time in mid-January, and Wes called me up, and I said, dude, you're out of your mind, man. Like, I started in Oklahoma City when they were a 16-win team, 18-win team, and to see the takeoff, it was a blessing for sure. But, you know, life is about taking chances, and it's about, you don't want to say, why didn't I do that? It's more about going and giving it a shot. And I've known Wes for 15 years, and my belief in him as a human being and as a basketball coach, this wasn't all friendship, that's for sure. I mean, it's my career as well. But coming here and checking the place out a bit more and getting to know Brad Pike and John Cunningham and John Daniel, that was also very, very integral in my belief in this program as a whole. It's a very special place, as you guys well know. It's right there to take off, and to have a chance to act as a servant in a sense and leave a larger impact on human beings and a basketball program as a whole, like this place, that's what won out at the end of the day. It was just the program, the city, the university, and Wes Miller.
Quick follow-up. What was the reactions you got from coworkers when you told them that this is what you're going to be doing?
A little bit of shock, like you said, as far as you're going to leave now when this thing's about to take off in Oklahoma City, but also support. They see the grand opportunity that was there here at UC, and again, it's a new day, and to have the reps and the chance to have a direct impact at a place like this, they understood, I think. I hope at least.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Enquirer. How you doing?
Good, Scott. How are you?
We're getting a nice picture of you today, updated. This team is the most international I've seen around here. How is that a plus? And how does that affect the team camaraderie? I would guess they're all kind of in the same boat. It's unique.
Yeah, these guys have integrated into this university and city very, very well. The blessing was having 3 or 4 of these guys that were already in the States. I got like Baba and Mustafa and Kerr and Jalen Celestine. The positive is this is now a international sport, international game, and the playing style over in Europe or even South America, it's very like-minded to what we wanted to do with this roster as a whole, and that is versatility, basketball IQ, switchability, shooting, and all these players that we brought in have at least one superpower that we can pinpoint and say this is what this guy does. And I think the European model is very fundamental based, it's very skill based, and it's what we try to reflect with the makeup of this roster. And I feel pretty confident in that we can kind of go out there in November and do just that.
JT Smith for the Front Office News. How you doing, Corey? You come in like smack dab in the portal season. How fast did it take you to kind of get your feet going? Also, you know, like kind of your new norm, and then is OKC taking care of you since you started the season with them and they got the ring?
I hope so. Shout out to Sam Presti there, but I'm not a guy that lives with regret. The first 4 or 5 days in the portal, though, I was thinking to myself, man, did I sign that contract yet? You know, like, I don't know if this is it. But, no, it's crazy how fast the portal moves. especially, they've lowered the window down even further to 30 days. And you're talking about players that you don't even know much about the morning of, and that night you're in the final three for them. And where the NBA, this is where the difference is in the NBA and college. NBA is very delayed approach. Everything is thorough and it's thought provoking, and you lay things out. And the transfer portal, you got to be on your P's and Q's. So going into this year, it's how do we prepare internally to be more ready for that cycle in the best, most efficient way possible. But I don't think you can ask any coach in America how they handle the transfer portal and how they are efficient with it. There's no proper way to do it. But you have to really do the intel work, the analytic work, and like the former question, having the chance to coach against Mustafa and Kerr and Sincere, and having that background definitely gave, I think, a leg up with the familiarity and the trust in recruiting those guys.
When you first got here, one of the things you talked about in terms of your vision of building a roster was processing. It kind of always stuck out to me. One, can you maybe go into a little more detail on what processing means on the court in terms of what you're looking for, and how much of that do you think you were able to add to the roster?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was the major catalyst for that. It was more of direct talking points with the staff as far as what do we exactly want out of this roster. And some of that might have been a hole from last year's roster, and it's, in a sense, recency bias. And it wasn't difficult to sell the staff on this being a primary component to what we wanted in our roster this year. So, but what that means to me is, can these guys think in a quick, efficient manner? And can they play different spots? Can they pass it? Can they handle pressure and make the proper decision? And I think we made that a priority in the portal, and we were also pretty lucky. Luck is a major factor in this, with how smart our roster is now. Even the freshmen, Shauna Bive's basketball acumen is through the roof for an 18, 19-year-old kid. Keyshawn Tillery's the same way. So when you have guys out there that can really think the game and play in a mature manner, Kirk Risha's, he's a savant in that regard. And having a guy like Sean, and even bringing guys in like Jordy, their ability to retain information and go out there and play and not make mistakes, and when they do, learn from it and move on. It's been a massive blessing, and I hope that it parlays itself into on-floor success. But last year's roster, we really wanted to make sure we brought in more passing, more playmaking, more shot creating. And the beauty of it is, when you think about passing, you think about guards, right? Guards and wings. And I think a hidden talent of ours is the passing ability of our big men, our front court guys like Mustafa and Jalen Haynes and Baba Miller. Those guys' assist percentages over the years has been super, super high. And in practice, it's been shown just as well how well they can be played through as connectors. And I think it's going to give Wes Miller and the coaching staff more of a chance to play different ways. And I think it's why Wes is so excited right now.
You came slightly before Mustafa. Did you have a part in that, or if not, go ahead and give me your evaluation?
I play a small part. I'll say that. Wes was very, very hands-on with that, as he should have been. I think Mustafa's future is as bright as it can get. He would have been the second biggest, longest player at the NBA Combine this past year, and the growth that he's made physically in the past 4 or 5 months, he's invested so much into his body, and I think it's really correlated with confidence. And once he begins to understand how good he is and how great he can be, and that is, in the grand scheme of things, he can go as far as he wants in basketball in general. The sky's the limit for him. So for him, it's just about building on days and weeks in stacking days and doing the right things. But as far as being coachable and having all the talent in the world and the dimensions, there's not a whole lot else you're looking for a guy like that.
You've evaluated a lot of different levels throughout your career. When you think about young guys like Shanabayev and Keyshawn Tillery, how much input do you maybe give the coaching staff on potential development plans for them to get them to the next level?
I try to stay hands off there. I think there has to be a delineation there between the coaching staff and myself. I don't want to really saunter into their land, but there's moments that we discuss and talk about certain things. But again, the great thing about Keyshawn and Sean is they're so coachable, and any tidbits that I can give them with my experience and my background, I give them. But just seeing them from afar, there hasn't been a whole lot to demand more out of with their consistency as freshmen. You're talking about guys that are 18, 19 years old with 24, 25-year-old teammates on the roster, and there's been no giant gulf between those guys and the older guys with maturity and daily habits. So that's been very, very promising. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's funny. The portal is going on, and you feel like you don't have enough hours in the day, and the roster finally is set, and you're looking around, and you're like, what do I do now? But there's always things to achieve and conquer here. For me, it's more about how do I manage on the back end, and how do I serve this staff and take off responsibilities that might have added up over the past 4 or 5 years that wasn't typical in college basketball. So for me, it's going to be a fact-finding mission. It's going to be about curiosity and being strategic with my time and my efforts. But we'll see as that time comes.
More important, where does the GM sit on game day? You in the second row? You get your own box?
I might be standing in the tunnel. I'm a kind of a nervous person when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
standing with Bob Mangine in the tunnel.
Bob and myself are going to be in the tunnel there, talking about our Pittsburgh background there. So, but yeah, we'll see.
How many of these guys, knowing your NBA background, have kind of searched you out just to chop it up and try to pick your brain and whatever you may know?
I'm the shiny new toy right now, right? So I'm the shiny new toy that just got unwrapped after Christmas. So definitely a majority of them, just about even just the daily life in the NBA or what it's like and what we look for in NBA players and prospects and the daily habits of people like that. It's easy to really sell it when it's Oklahoma City and you're involved with Shai Gilgeous and Jalen and Chet, these kind of big name players in the NBA. But again, like I said, I'm here to kind of help these guys achieve all they want here at Cincinnati and beyond. So whatever kind of resource I can be, I'm down for it.
Mustafa, how's the adjustment been to Cincinnati, and how much have people warned you about the cold?
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that, but yeah, it's been good. It's been really good. It's summer, so the weather is perfect. But yeah, I heard that it's gonna be cool. But I'm adjusting, being around a lot of people, taking a lot of advice. It's been really cool.
How important has it been to have Coach Njai with you, a big man coach that you're familiar with?
I mean, that's great because he been in the NBA and he did it, so he made it. So he been teaching me a lot of things with the staff, Coach West, Coach Dollar, Coach Morgan, and all the people that giving us all the resources we need. So it's been really good, being around him, learning a lot, since we have the same culture, so it's like easier. And then he been teaching me a lot of things, so it's been really good.
I'm curious what the biggest adjustment has been since coming over to the States to start playing basketball. What's been maybe the hardest part? What's been maybe your favorite part about being here?
I mean, since I got to the state, I would say the biggest adjustment is physically, because when I first got here, I was like probably 176, 6'11". Well, I was 16 years old. But yeah, it's been a really good journey, going through a lot, ups and downs, but yeah, it's been really good learning a lot of things in the state, basketball, how basketball works here. So it's been a really interesting journey.
Wes admitted he's pushing you, and he's been hard on you. Have you seen that pay off already? And what's that been like compared to previous coaches you've dealt with?
I mean, yeah, he been pushing me a lot. You know, he been teaching me a lot of things, and then he been not easy on me, which why I'm here. Cause if I was ready, I would not be here. But yeah, I'm here to just get pushed. So I like how he being hard on me. You know, teaching me a lot of things. So yeah, it's really good.
I'm curious what your journey with the English language has been like, and learning it and adapting to it. Is there any funny way that you've gone about learning English?
I mean, yeah, I'm still learning English, but yeah, it's been easy for me because I speak 5 languages. So I got here 2022, didn't speak no English. In 3 years, I learned what I'm saying now. So it's like it's been not difficult, but yeah, I'm still learning English. So
What languages do you know?
I know Wolof, English, French, and 2 other languages in my country.
When you don't like the referee's call, which one do you use?
I always give it in English. I always use English.
I saw you. Well, the last game I saw you play was in Las Vegas.
Right.
You hit a three. You were a pretty decent 3-point shooter for a guy your size. That still going to be part of your game?
Yeah, it's still gonna be part of my game. I'm working on it every day. You know, working on it every time with my coaches, with the GAs. So I'm improving it. So I feel like it's a part of my game.
Said being transferring from UCF, being in Cincinnati. Has anybody took you on town and got any skyline yet, or have you tried any of the local foods?
Yeah, I've been trying a lot of foods. I've been going out with my teammates, you know, with the coaches on different restaurants, and I really like the food out here.
Do you have a favorite so far?
I'll go to Root Chris a lot.
Right.
Yeah, so I really like that.
How much did having the experience of playing against Cincinnati last year kind of give you an understanding of what you were walking into this season under Coach Miller and the rest of the coaching staff?
I mean, yeah, when I played against them last year, I figured that they have a great program, you know, and then Coach West is a really good coach with the staff. So I knew before I got here that when I get here, I got to get to work, and then I got to improve everything and got to bring everything on the table that they need me to do. So it's been really good.
And as a follow-up, what's been the most difficult challenge during this, transition for you?
I mean, yeah, you know, you're not going to just transfer and come here and just get comfortable. You know, you have to adjust in a lot of different ways. But I feel like, yeah, during this summer, I've been adjusting a lot. So it's been a really good journey.
You came here to develop your game and ultimately chase that NBA dream. How do you describe to Cincinnati fans how badly you want to win and win right away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here to do whatever they need me to do to get the dubs. So yeah, I like the fans too. You know, sometimes I've been going on my DMs, and then you know people supporting me and stuff like that. I really like it, and can't wait to get on the court and show them what we can do.
Is there a player in the NBA, maybe past, present, that you like to model your game after?
Yeah, I really like Jet Holmgren. I like Wembanyama. You know, I like those players. I watch a lot of films of them. Joel Embiid. So yeah.
I don't have a schedule in front of me, but when you play UCF, what do you expect from?
To just go out there and kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm expecting to go and win. That's all I expected.
Are you able to tune out fans and things like that? I don't know if you guys go to Orlando or not this year, but
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna go to Orlando. We're gonna play here in Orlando, but yeah, it's the same thing. You know, whenever we go on the court, we just compete and trying to get the win.
A lot of big Bearcat fans in Orlando.
Yeah, there's a lot of big. I like that. I like that.
What's the challenge in practice been like against these guys, getting to play against Jalen and Baba and everybody else every day?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really challenging thing because, you know, you're playing against the best of the best. So it's like really challenging, you know, going against your teammates and then they're really good. So I think it's a really good thing for us because once we're playing against other people, it's not going to be like that. So I think it's a really good thing.
I know you and Javin have a little bit different backgrounds, but have you guys connected
Yeah. Alvin is my dog. Alvin is my guy. Yeah, we hang out a lot.
What has Coach Rayfeld done to you in the Monster Factory?
I mean, Coach Raphael is just great. You know, he's been helping us. I actually gained 20 pounds since I got here, or 25. So he cares. Like, he been doing a lot of things. You know, making sure you eat good, making sure you do all the right things. So he's been helping us a lot.
A lot of different personalities and backgrounds on this team, especially at the international level. How has that kind of helped with your transition with knowing there's other guys who are kind of in the same position as you?
Yeah, in the team we have a lot of international guys, and then I think this is probably my first time being in a team like there's a lot of international guys, but I really like it. And then you know, even if it's international or American, we all like connected, and then we all like love each other as a teammate, and everybody just okay with it.